All right, today's objective, the distributive property and simplifying expressions, which is what we're going to see as far as combined like terms. Let's go over some definitions. Terms, a number, a variable, or the product of a number and one or more variables. A constant, a term that has no variables. Coefficient, the numerical factor of a term. Like terms have exactly the same variable factors. So like terms, so here's the variable of x squared, and it also has a variable x squared. So these would be considered like terms. xy is the variable, and xy here is a variable, so those would be considered like terms. Coefficients are the numbers that sit in front of those variables. So 6 would be the coefficient of this term, 5 would be the coefficient of that term, and then 3 would be the coefficient of that one. And then here, negative 12 on the end is what we consider the constant. All right, let's simplify some expressions. So 2, in parentheses, 2 times 5x plus 3. So we're going to distribute. 2 is what's being multiplied by 5x plus 3. So when I distribute 2 times 5x, and then plus, since I have a addition, 2 times 3. So that would give me this term here. So when I simplify, 2 times 5x is 10x, and then 2 times 3 is positive 6. So this would simplify to 10x plus 6. Number 2, 3b minus 2 multiplied by 1/3. Again, 1/3 I'm going to distribute through. So when I distribute through to the negative 2 times 1/3, positive 1/3 times 3b. And this simplifies here. Think of that with a 1. And when I cross simplify, that just gives me that 1b. And then here, with the the negative 2 multiplied by the positive 1/3, that just simplifies to negative 2/3. Again, 6 is being multiplied to m plus 5. So when I distribute the 6 through, 6 times m plus 6 times 5. So 6 times m is 6m plus 6 times 5 is positive 30. So 6m plus 30 is that expression simplified. So let's work on this one. So let's go ahead and distribute the 2. 2 times 3, and then 2 times negative 7t. Okay? And then this would simplify to a positive 6, and this simplifies to a negative 14t. This can also be written, remember keeping the variables first, in that form. This is more preferred. Okay? Now keep in mind here, remember I see a negative out here. That's no different than if you see a negative x, remember that's a negative 1 on the outside. So this is the identity of as far as the 1 goes. So negative 1 times 2x, negative 1 times positive 1. Okay, so this would simplify to negative 2x minus 1. Last one, negative 1 is over here, but I'm going to distribute the same way as I did on number 2. So negative 1 times negative 8a, negative 1 times positive 3. So this is, remember, a negative times negative gives me positive 8a, negative 1 times positive 3 is negative 3. So that simplifies to 8a minus 3. All right, last thing, combine like terms. Well, Vic number 1, like terms must have the same exact variable factors. So here, this variable factor is y squared, and this one has y squared. We would consider these two terms to be like terms. Okay? These two, this one has x squared, but this one only has an x. They are not like terms. They may have the same variable, but they have different exponents. Remember, this one has an exponent of a 1. So those are not like terms. We cannot do anything with those. So let's look at some examples on combining. Okay, x squared and x squared, I can clearly see those are the same variable factors. So that means I would just go ahead and I would combine them by performing the operation on the coefficients. So 3 plus 5 gives me a positive 8x squared. Here, negative 5c plus 1c, I definitely have the same variable factors. So combine using these with the terms using the operations of the coefficients. So negative 5, positive 1, that tells me I'm going to subtract, take the sign of the larger, negative 4c. Now if you look at this one, y and y squared, they do have the same variable, but it's not the same variable factors. This has an exponent of a 2, and that one has an exponent of a 1. You cannot combine those terms. They are already simplified in that form. Cannot combine them. All right, example 4. I do have like terms, so again I combine them by combining the coefficients. Negative 9 minus 3, that is negative 12w cubed. Here, 8d plus 1d, combine them, positive 8 and positive 1, gives me a positive 9d.